Hello, my name's Sharon, otherwise known as S L Saunders, author of Ellie in the Underworld, and I have done a little short story as well that's in this book, and that's the Little Book of Christmas Stories, and mine is the first story to be found in there. It's called The Ghost of Christmas Cheers by S L Saunders, and they're both published by my publisher, Green Cat Books. So thank you. I'm here for an interview today, and bear with me whilst I answer these questions. So, when it came to picking the names of my characters, most of them just came to my head quite easily, and that was like Ellie, Bill, Grandpa Joe, and some of the rarer ones and the more complex names, such as Aurora Master and Ahriman, they came from a different book. They came from this book, A Dictionary of Mysticism, which is a really old book. It says edited by Frank Gaynor. And I basically did go through at the beginning and you can see how much time I probably spent looking for the names, but I even have a little tick next to one of the names that when I picked them, and it was like there, just a very faint mark. So Ahriman and Master are actually Persian gods from the Zoroastrian religion. And then that sort of, I did a bit of research around that, and that set the premises of the book, which is based on a battle of good and evil, fighting the forces to retain the balance of nature. So that fitted really well, and I think that sort of, that became the premises of the book. So where the others came to me, they were researched and used, and it's really interesting history. Oh my goodness, it took me around 20 years to write Ellie in the Underworld. I had started it many years ago, and I thought, right, well, I'll keep writing, and life gets in the way and children get in the way. And then, so 20 years in the making.
So it was definitely crafted with some love and attention then over that span of time. What was the inspiration for you to write your first book, or any of the books?
My children were the inspiration for my book. I wanted to write a story for them. I wanted to maybe just have like a bit of a legacy there for them. And the inspiration for that was we'd gone visiting a family member, and they had like this beautiful arched window, and very unusual. I do have some pictures of that as well. And I remember sitting there at night, and the kids had gone to bed, and like your imagination, it's in the countryside, so my imagination was running wild. And then I just had this sort of vision of Octavian. And we're not going to give too much away about that scene, because obviously go and read Ellie in the Underworld and you'll find out what happens with the window and Octavian. So that window and the red velour settee, because I had a red velour settee at the time, were a great inspiration for the book.
Do you write in any other genres?
When it comes to the branches of genres, yes, last year I decided to sort of go off on the romance, particularly supernatural side. So like romance supernatural. I'm sure there's probably another name for that genre. I think it's sort of a great light-hearted area to write in. Whereas like if you're writing fantasy, you're doing a lot of world building, character building. That's not to say that you're not in romance writing, but for me personally, I just find that a little bit more light-hearted, a little easier to write.
Totally agree. Are you writing, or have you written another book yet?
Yes, several. I've got a full draft again for a romance book that needs editing, so I need to save the funds to get that edited. I'm halfway through the second book in the series of Ellie in the Underworld, which is called Ellie and the Keeper of the Keys. I've also got sort of a loose draft for a children's book. That'll be for around age 10 years old, and that's about a young girl with autism and a little dog. So it's quite close to my heart. I'm enjoying writing that because you can link things things that are relevant in your own life. And I have many others outlined, probably quite a lot outlined if I'm honest. Oh, and I also, like I said earlier, have my book, my story in the Little Book of Christmas Stories, which is a Christmas anthology from Green Cat Books. Includes my story and lots of very other good stories, so go and give that a read. Doesn't have to be Christmas to read it, it's great fun.
Can't wait to read them. I hope I get to see them all and read them all. What is your favourite book of all time? Not necessarily your own, but a book in general.
My favourite book of all time, this was a difficult one because I probably don't read as much as I'd like to, believe it or not, but I've put Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I'm going to have to admit, it's a long time since I read that book, but the book and the film I absolutely adored. I know it can be seen as controversial because of some of the American history, but I'm in my 50s now, so when I was reading that, I was a young girl in my 20s, and Scarlett O'Hara and all the drama in her relationships, she's just such this diva, and I loved that. And also as well, because I loved the film as well, so the outfits. I'm not really like a sort of a historical person normally when it comes to books, but I did like that. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. What piece of advice would you give to other writers when writing their books?
Oh, the biggest piece of advice I'd give to someone writing their own book is don't give up. Really don't give up. Like I said earlier, it took me 20 years to write Ellie in the Underworld. And there was times when I thought, oh, I'm never going to finish this. But I did. I persevered. And the next question will answer how I was able to do that, which is quite helpful.
So what is your greatest accomplishment then?
So my greatest accomplishment, outside of my children obviously, is actually writing the book. Like I said before, I doubted if I'd ever finish writing Ellie in the Underworld. And then I did find Green Cat Books. And now this isn't a plug for Green Cat Books, but go ahead because she's a brilliant publisher. So what happened was, I had an old friend of mine, another author called Elijah Barnes, and I saw his book that kept coming up on my feed, and it was called The Witch and Jet Splinters. He does have another one out as well. And I remember looking, I wonder who published, because I was rewriting Ellie again, or going through all my notes, and I thought, I wonder who his publisher was. So obviously I went and looked and found Green Cat Books, and then had a bit of a research and found on a website that there was quite a lot of publishing packages, and they were helpful for me. I didn't want to go down the traditional route of publishing. This worked for me, and I sort of could go at my own pace, and I could pay in instalments. So I reached out and I asked her, and the rest is history. I am now published. So my greatest accomplishment did come by seeking out an editor, which I do think you need.
Obviously, being a publisher, I do agree that you do need a good editor. You can't fully proofread your own book, I don't think, because you need a fresh set of eyes, because you kind of become word blind almost. So you do need to keep checking, but you'll read it, and because you've written it, you will see what you think you've written. So you may have or you may have written hate instead of the. So there's so much that you can miss when you're proofreading or editing your own work. So obviously as a publisher I promote it, but as a writer as well I also promote it. So let's completely go off topic now and talk about what is your favourite food?
Oh, tiramisu. That's my favourite food. But I am a diabetic, so it has to be a rare circumstances that I can actually have that, a little treat every now and again. But it is brilliant, I love it. And all throughout my pregnancies, because I was diabetic, obviously through them, I couldn't have no puddings, and that was my craving, tiramisu.
Well, that's just typical. I used to be intolerant to milk, and milk is my favourite drink along with Bailey's, so I know exactly what you're talking about there. So what is your favourite type of music?
This is a difficult one to answer as well because I love many genres of music, but just recently I've been listening a lot to a band called Jungle. You may have heard them. They have a lot of dances with them, and they're a mix of electric funk and pop and soul. So if you've never listened to them, go and check them out.
I've never heard of them, no. Where is your favourite place to be?
My favourite place to be is anywhere in nature and the countryside. I just find it very soothing and very relaxing. And a beautiful place called Iona in Scotland. Beautiful white beaches. Just gorgeous, gorgeous scenery.
And finally, and most importantly, what is your most embarrassing moment?
Oh, this is a funny one. I have lots of embarrassing moments, so I'm just going to keep them to myself. But one was a conversation with my partner where I said, "Oh, I like that gillet." And he started laughing. He went, "What do you mean gillet?" Well, of course, it's gilet. And I've never got it right, and I still say it wrong to this day, and we still have a chuckle.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much, Sharon. We've really enjoyed talking to you, and we look forward to more of your books.